What if Grandmaster Yoda, the legendary Jedi who trained generations of Force users, went toe-to-toe with Abeloth, the entity so terrifying that Luke Skywalker himself called her the most dangerous being he'd ever encountered? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Yoda's the GOAT. He'd find a way. And look, I respect that. But today we're going to explore why this matchup is actually, well, it's not even close. And honestly, understanding why tells us something fascinating about the nature of the Force itself. Stick around because by the end of this, you'll see why even our favorite 900-year-old green legend would be completely out of his depth. All right, let's start with the big question. Who exactly is Abeloth? For those unfamiliar with the Legends continuity, yeah, we're diving into the old expanded universe here. Abeloth is a character from the Fate of the Jedi novel series, but calling her a character almost doesn't do it justice. She's more like a cosmic horror that somehow wandered into Star Wars. Here's her origin story. About 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, there was a family, the father, the son, and the daughter. These beings literally embodied the Force itself. The father was balance, the son was the dark side, the daughter was the light, and they had a mortal servant who loved them deeply. She helped raise the son, and the daughter became part of their lives. But here's the thing, she was mortal. She was aging while they stayed eternal, terrified of losing them, of being separated from this family she loved. She did something desperate. She drank from the font of power and bathed in the pool of knowledge, well springs of pure dark side and light side energy that even the ones warned against. And it changed her. She became something twisted, something wrong. The father had to imprison her on a planet that existed outside normal space, locked away with an entire system of black holes just to keep her contained. They called her Abeloth, the bringer of chaos. Now, what makes Abeloth so dangerous isn't just her power, though we'll get to that. It's what she is. She's a corruption of the Force itself. When she breaks free in the Fate of the Jedi series, she doesn't just threaten the galaxy, she threatens reality. Jedi and Sith begin going insane across the galaxy just from her presence alone. She can possess multiple avatars simultaneously. She can exist in multiple places at once. Luke Skywalker, and we're talking Grandmaster Luke here, arguably more powerful than any Jedi in history, needed help from Darth Krayt and the combined might of multiple Force users just to temporarily stop her. And even then, they didn't truly kill her. That's who we're dealing with. Now, before anyone thinks I'm disrespecting the little green master, let's talk about Yoda. Yoda is, without question, one of the most powerful Jedi to ever live. This isn't fanboy talk. This is canon. For 800 years, he trained Jedi. He sat on the council. He wielded the Force with a mastery that only a handful of beings in galactic history could ever match. Think about what we've seen him do. In Attack of the Clones, he goes head-to-head with Count Dooku, catching Force lightning with his bare hands and walking it off like it's nothing. In Revenge of the Sith, he duels Darth Sidious, the most powerful Sith Lord in 1,000 years, and holds his own. Sure, he didn't win that fight, but the fact that he survived and escaped tells you everything about his skill level. Yoda's connection to the Force is profound. He can sense disturbances across the galaxy. He can glimpse the future, imperfectly, yes, but still. His lightsaber form, Form 4 Ataru, turns his small size into an advantage using speed and acrobatics. When Yoda goes all out, he's basically a blender of green fury. And beyond raw power, there's wisdom. 900 years of experience, meditation, combat, understanding the Force on a level few ever reach. He even learned to retain his consciousness after death, becoming one with the Force while still manifesting as a Force ghost. In the context of his era, Yoda is the final boss, the absolute peak of what the Jedi Order could produce. But here's where we need to be honest. The gap between Yoda and Abeloth isn't like comparing a skilled fighter to a master. It's like comparing a human to a force of nature. Let's get specific. Yoda's power, immense as it is, still operates within the normal rules of the Force. Telekinesis, mind influence, enhanced speed and strength, visions. He's extraordinary at it, probably as good as any mortal being can be without fully crossing into the dark side. Abeloth? She rewrites the rules. In Fate of the Jedi, we see her do things that shouldn't be possible. She creates force storms capable of tearing apart starships. She corrupts force users across entire star systems without even being physically present. When Luke and the strike team confront her, she's fighting multiple Sith Lords and Jedi Masters at the same time, while also maintaining control over her avatars across the galaxy. And here's the moment that really puts it in perspective. When Luke and Darth Krayt team up against her. And remember, Luke at this point has faced everything from the Emperor to the Yuuzhan Vong. They hit her with everything they have. Luke channels the light side, Krayt channels the dark. Opposite sides of the Force, striking her simultaneously. And she almost wins anyway. The novel describes her as being beyond death. Even when one of her bodies is destroyed, she just keeps existing. She isn't bound to physical form the way normal beings are. Yoda's power is like a bonfire, bright, controlled, and incredibly effective. Abeloth's power is like a wildfire merged with a tsunami. It's not just bigger, it's a different category entirely. So let's game this out. Yoda versus Abeloth, one-on-one. Best case scenario for Yoda, he realizes immediately that he's outmatched. He avoids direct combat. Maybe he escapes. Maybe he helps seal her away, temporarily. Yoda is wise enough to know when a battle can't be won with a lightsaber. But if they actually fight, right, Yoda goes all in, lightsaber blazing, force abilities at maximum, 900 years of experience guiding every move. For a brief moment, he might even seem to hold his own. Precognition helps him evade her opening attacks. His mastery lets him deflect some of her power. But then reality sets in. The environment begins to warp. The Force itself feels wrong, corrupted, and Yoda's deep connection to the Force, his greatest strength, becomes a liability. He feels that corruption more intensely than anyone. She doesn't just attack his body, she attacks his mind, his spirit, the very essence of what makes him a Jedi. We've seen what her presence does to trained Force users. They break, they go mad, they become puppets. Yoda's mental discipline is legendary, but Abeloth has shattered Jedi who spent their entire lives training for mental resistance. And even if, through sheer will and mastery, Yoda somehow lands a killing blow, she reforms. She's done it before. You can't kill Abeloth through conventional means because she's no longer truly physical. When we talk about skills, we need to understand that Yoda and Abeloth are playing completely different games. Yoda's skills are refined, precise, and masterful. Precognition and battle meditation, exceptional. Wisdom and strategic thinking, unparalleled in his era. Teaching and Force knowledge, 800 plus years of expertise. These are skills that make him the ultimate Jedi, but they're Jedi skills, developed within the framework of what the Jedi Order understood about the Force. Abeloth's skills are more like fundamental abilities, reality warping within the Force, simultaneous existence in multiple locations, corruption and possession of Force-sensitive beings, immortality and regeneration, manipulation of both light and dark side simultaneously. She doesn't have techniques the way Yoda does. Her connection to the Force isn't something she trained. It's something she became when she transformed herself. It's the difference between a master swordsman and someone who can control metal with their mind. The swordsman might be incredibly skilled, but the other person is playing a completely different game. So, who's more powerful? Abeloth, without question. It's not even really a fair comparison. But here's the thing that makes Star Wars great. Power isn't everything. Yoda lived a life of purpose. He trained generations of Jedi. He helped preserve hope in the galaxy's darkest moments. Abeloth, despite all her power, is ultimately a tragic figure. Someone who became a monster because she couldn't accept mortality. If you enjoyed this deep look at Star Wars lore, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop a comment and let me know. Are there any other matchups you want to see analyzed?